The sound of approaching hoofbeats made Meve turn to see Reynard spurring on his panting horse, galloping at a breakneck speed towards her.
Ill tidings I bring, Your Grace.
Clearly. Glad tidings never arrive with such urgency.
Our scouts captured a Nilfgaardian messenger. He was traveling in disguise, and by night. When he realized his capture was imminent, he strove to destroy the letters he carried. We were able to salvage some, in parts.
Anything of interest?
Yes, there is, I fear. Your Majesty, you must listen. Consider your offer accepted. Direct Meve and her force to the agreed site. We await their arrival. Your reward shall be as agreed. Hail, Keritsa.
A traitor. We might have expected as much. Nilfgaard has shown amply that it abides only by the rules it sets. Since they have not proved able to defeat me in the field, in open battle, they seek other means. I suppose the scroll bears no name.
It does not, Your Grace.
The messenger. Have you questioned him?
Naturally, Your Grace. Alas, he knows not to whom the letter is directed. He was to leave it in an agreed spot.
I take it tidings of the whole affair have spread throughout the force?
Yes, Your Majesty. The witnesses were too many to keep this fact a secret.
We must thus assume the traitor in our ranks knows it as well, and will make no attempt to retrieve the scroll. A dead end. Have we any other leads or clues?
None, I fear, Your Majesty. We must be alert. Keep a keen eye on events as they unfold, and exercise great caution in forging new acquaintances.
Very well. Eyes wide open, all senses attuned. Yours in particular, Reynard.
Of course, my liege.
eh?
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Ah, should have listened to me old lady.
Thing about slings, they hide well.
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
Eh? Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth? I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. Ah, should have listened to me old lady.
I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away.
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Neve's force neared Davor's abyss. Signs of beastly feasting were not hard to find. Countless paw and claw tracks were impressed in the blood-stained snow. Among the boulders, bones picked clean were strewn about. Gascon lifted one from the ground.
Empty inside,
He said.
Something sucked out the marrow.
Neve's soldiers feigned indifference to the grisly sight. They marched on, their stepped rhythm unwavering, a song on their lips. Yet hearing a slight tremolo in their voices, Neve knew they merely sought to drown out their fear. A moment later, a commander's horn sounded, the signal to halt. The Queen galloped to the fore of the column and found herself at the edge of a vast, round hole in the ground. she could not see the bottom. Meve drew her reins tight to prevent her mount from taking even one step forward.
What is this? A crater? A desiccated lake?
A mine of the strip variety.
Gabor explained.
Treasures we picked and shoveled for here. Diamonds. Till we happened on the beasts, that is.
What now?
Orion's a dam. Holds back a lake. If we can break it, water'll rush in, fill the abyss and the tunnels from which the beasts emerge. Just need to get around the mine first. Way down's on the other side.
Meve squinted and gazed into the distance. Indeed, there was the dam. And at its foot, a swarm of beasts roiled about. Her soldiers gazed at their queen expectantly, their arms at the ready. She knew well they would rush into battle, in spite of their fear.
Gabor!
Meve cried out over the whirling wind.
Have you bards here in Mahakam?
Course, your grace!
Then we shall give them good reason to compose this day, on the themes of courage, of heroism, of Lyria! Gee up!
And with that cry, the queen spurred her mount, grabbed a banner, and raising it high over her head, rushed headlong at the horrid swarm.
Here's the way down! We need to break through and destroy the dam!
Should have listened to me old lady. This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads. My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me. There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Your Grace, monsters approach from all sides.
Excellent! The dam's about to give!
Our ballista, your command.
It worked! Look at those stunners flounder!
Excellent work!
And indeed, bards sang of this battle soon after. For no claws or fangs could break through the wall of shields the Lyrians raised that day. And no scales could protect the beasts from the Lyrians' stinging arrows and blades.
Fight! Do not relent! Let us show these beasts! It is they who should fear us!
The Queen shouted. In the end, the beasts turned to flee, yet Maeve's force cut off any chance of escape. A solid wall of men began to push the monsters ever closer to the edge of Davor's abyss. Pressed from all sides, the horrors began slipping over the precipice, screeching terribly as they fell. Silence came at last. The Queen stood at the edge of the precipice, breathing heavily, leaning on her sword. From the depths of the mine came muted growls and groans.
Let's flood the damn hole,
Hissed Gabor.
before any other shite crawls out of it.
A rush of icy water suddenly rose, then just as abruptly plunged into the mine, flooding the pit. And where once lay Davor's abyss, now lay Davor's pond. Maeve descended back into the pass, exhausted and covered in beastly blood, yet also exceedingly pleased. She was one step closer to dwarven support in the war against Nilfgaard. Once the Lyrians had put some distance between themselves and the now destroyed monster lair, Maeve ordered her men to pitch camp. Then she sent the quartermaster off for food and drink. The soldiers lit campfires, then set aside their weapons. Soon after, lively music and song could be heard throughout the camp.
Your Majesty,
Reynard said from behind Maeve's back.
a messenger from the Elder-in-Chief.
The Queen turned to see a dwarf in a richly adorned jerkin and a shako with golden seams. She stifled her laugh into a smile and lifted her chin proudly, expecting praise and a pledge of aid in the war against Nilfgaard.
My lady, your daring deeds have come to the Elder's attention.
Said the dwarf in a measured voice.
He's positively irate and demands an explanation.
Irate? But why? I and my men, we've aided you greatly.
Elder Hoog awaits at the Long Bridge. You'd be wise not to keep him there any length of time.
And with that, all the Queen's enthusiasm for a celebration was instantly gone. She waited until the fires expired and the songs died down, then gave the order to march.
Frozen. All. Only the banner moves, blown by the wind.
Downright poetic. Prime material for a ballad. Perhaps even a whole saga.
Gazing towards the horizon, Meve noticed a dark shape outlined against the mantle of snow that lay on the ground. It proved a tower, toppled and broken in pieces. Around it lay the ruins of other buildings, blocks hewn out of basalt rock protruding from the permafrost.
That'd be the Clan Vidmar ruins!
Said Gabor, hollering over the wind.
Rich ones had their clan seat here till earth tremors turned all into dust. Hundreds of dwarves lived here once, and now, not a living soul.
Ah! Help! Save me!
On the contrary, there was someone midst the ruins, and said someone was clearly in trouble. Meve ordered her men to find the unfortunate soul. They returned moments later, leading a dwarf whose teeth chattered. They had found him in a ruined building where he'd sought shelter from ghouls. Judging by his appearance, the dwarf had spent the better part of a week there.
Mirko Vidmar, they call me.
He said, patting down unkempt hair that seemed to reach in all directions.
I came here seeking a family heirloom, lost in the tremors and the chaos they caused. I ken the chamber where it ought to be, but, well, beasts made their lair there. I cannot drive them off on my own. But bold warriors like you ought to cut them down in a jiffy. So, will you help?
I too have lost my home, estate,
Said the Queen.
so I understand well what you feel. I shall help you recover your heirloom. Call it a win.
Mirko Vidmar's face lit up. Though he'd spent a week besieged and eating stale biscuits, and though there was a hoarfrost in his beard, he quickly trotted to the front of the column and led the Lyrian soldiers to the underground chamber. As promised, beasts awaited there.
From there they come. Drive them back!
You mad? Don't shake that! This could hurt.
Should've listened to me, old lady. this harvest, we'll be reaping black cloud.
Right, that's no problem.
Sorry, turnips back for an encore.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
God's blessing. My breastplate, chiefs.
From a glue, a bit of soldering, a rivet or two, and it's good as new.
Let's get a move on before any others show up.
As soon as the fight was done, Mirko Vidmar ran towards a crate that stood on a pedestal, slipping on the now bloody floor. When the dwarf lifted the lid, precious stones spilled out.
Your heirloom? This?
Asked the Queen, rather puzzled.
I thought a pipe that belonged to your grandfather more likely.
Seems to me Brother Mirko wasn't wholly candid with us. This here's no heirloom, no family souvenir. It's the treasure trove of Clan Vidmar. We thought it gone for good.
Pressed for the truth, Mirko admitted no family sentiment had prompted this expedition. The dwarf had planned to leave Mahakam and start a new life among humans. Yet he did not wish to do so without sizable capital.
I can't stand to stay here a moment longer. The days, all of them, they're identical. Rise with the first cockscrow, march in double file to the latrine, crap on command, 12 hours down the shaft and home to sleep.
Mirko complained.
Want a wifey? Put in an application. In triplicate. Care to snip your beard? Elders got to approve it. You want to add buttermilk, not cream, to your mushroom soup? Clan council's got to debate it. How's a dwarf not to get balmy?
I understand the lad, no two ways about it.
Gabor sighed.
But I feel it's my duty to remind yous that what Mirko's going and doing here, well, there are laws. Treasure's due the Elder-in-Chief, not to Mirko. That's one. Second, any dwarf that wants to leave Mahakam can't take nothing but his breeches, his dixie, and his coat. So, brief like, consider well afore you make your decision, Your Grace.
When I was a lass of but 12 summers, my mother ordered me to go to a ball in a pink crinoline dress. In it I resembled a meringue pastry.
Meave smiled at the memory.
So I cut it into ribbons and fled out my bedroom window.
What's that got to do with?
What I wish to say, Gabor, is that I understand him. And though it be against your laws, I shall allow him to take the treasure and leave.
Mirko Vidmar had tears in his eyes as he thanked the Queen. Then he heaved the crate onto his back, and deeply bent over under its weight, he trudged off towards human lands. The Lyrians rode a narrow, winding path along the rocky ridge. To one side were ice-covered boulders, to the other, a chasm hundreds of feet deep.
They could have at least erected some barriers.
Complained Gascon, knocking snow from his cap.
Got plans for that.
Gabor said,
Just need to decide how high to make them.
What?
Think. Should they be the height of your average dwarf or a human? The debate's gone on for 20 years. Now, on the one hand, you've got...
Gabor did not finish his discussion. He was interrupted by the Baba Ghazi that jumped down from the rocks.
Archers, shoot! Aim for underbelly!
Meave soldiers made quick work of the lone monster. But the sound of battle spooked the horses harnessed to one of her wagons.
Whoa there! Whoa, damn it!
The driver tried to rein in the animals, but could not. They dragged him into the chasm along with his cart and the soldiers riding him. They landed a few dozen feet below on a rocky outcropping. A moment later, Baba Ghazis swarmed everywhere.
Did you see how they fared? Anyone left alive?
Asked Meave, leaning over the cliff edge.
Worry more about their cargo.
Gascon replied.
They were also carrying chests of gold.
Blast. We can't get down there. Too steep and the snow keeps falling.
We can lower ourselves down a line. But without armor, shields, or heavy weapons, otherwise it will snap.
And the Baba Ghazis?
The Queen said, brow raised.
We shan't kill them with daggers. They're too thick of armor.
We'll have to try. Or continue on our way.
You only live once.
Meave sighed.
Gascon, round up some volunteers and let us move out.
Moments later, the Queen was lowering herself down a line straight towards the gaping maw of a Baba Ghazi. Her only armor, a woolen shirt.
Careful! No one try to be a hero!
Whoa, you dirty tart.
What do you want of me?
Aye.
Ha!
Watch your heads!
Our ballista, your command.
and it's a bloody long way down.
For you, pal! Anything.
Bereft of sword and shield, Meve could not withstand a single blow. She thus danced atop the frozen snow, deftly dodging the Barbegazi's lightning-fast strikes, while delivering but a few well-aimed hits of her own, to their eyes, ears, and gaping jaws. When the last monster fell lifeless to the ground, Meve walked up to the shattered wagon. The soldiers it had carried were bruised, frostbitten, but alive.
Your Grace, we were sure you'd leave us.
A good ruler never abandons her folk.
Nor her gold.
Gascon interjected, while securing a rope to a chest. Soon enough, all were safely back on the path. The admiration Meve saw in her soldiers' eyes was in itself sufficient reward for her difficult battle.
Scurvy scatches!
Sailed into troubled waters, mate.
Your wish, my duty. Natural, of course.
Yes, Dwan?
Welcome to me inn. We've many folk today, but there's always room enough for more. Good to see you again.
A fresh snow today. Got a blow before too long. Bring a rush down. Oh, it's cold as up a shile ma's ass. Even the snow knows me ga courts are ye. Truly. Thought yourselves here for a spell afore moving on.
All right, that's no problem.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
You mad? Don't say that!
Every rig's a thief.
Feel any burning? See a local healer or wise woman.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
What do you want of me?
Off to the front yet again.
Company! Forward march!
Aye. Should have listened to me old lady.
Prepare to fight, if you've any honor.
this harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads.
We've now witnessed a sorry sight. A mass funeral for miners killed due to a tragic convergence of events. Their lead caskets lay upon the snow, wreaths of hop cones laid upon them in turn. The mourners waited for the diggers to finish. The digging was tough, for the ground was frozen. As the crunch and thud of picks and shovels continued, the dead miner's foreman scrambled onto a boulder to make a speech. Angry shouts and loud booing stopped him.
You knew it! You knew they'd smell vapors, but you ordered them to keep digging till it blew up in their faces!
Meet the daily quota whatever the cost, eh?
You've blood on your mitts, whoreson!
A mourner then picked up a chunk of frozen ground and threw it at the foreman. Blood spurted from the gash that appeared on his forehead. The first dirt chunk was followed by another, then by a rock, a brick. Meve realized that if she did not intervene, the foreman stood to be stoned to death. Something had to be done quickly. Meve saw this clearly. She spurred her mount and rode into the cemetery, pushing through the throng, then stopping before the foreman, the horse shielding him from further blows.
Calm yourselves! Silence! His guilt cannot be decided here. It must!
Before Meve could finish her plea, a large rock thrown from the crowd struck her bosom, nearly knocking her from her saddle. Upon seeing this, her Lyrian escort lowered spears and drew swords and rushed at the angry mourners.
Shino Kren!
Isbel cried out. Her hands began to radiate a fierce light that blinded both dwarves and Lyrians alike.
Have you lost your minds, all of you together? Not had your fill of misfortune yet? Lower your arms at once.
Whether the power of Isbel's magic or the force of her appeal had the greater effect is difficult to say for certain. Either way, both sides suddenly lost the desire to fight. Meve breathed a sigh of relief, aware that if not for Isbel's intervention, a great amount of blood would have been spilled at that cemetery.
Knew there'd be a stink cause of this. Knew there'd be a
The Lyrians ascended the highest section of the Mahakam Range. Snow crunched under their boots, cold air stung their lungs, and the winds snapped at their cloaks. Meve wiped sweat from her brow and turned to Raynor.
There! By the rocks! We shall...
The rest of her words were drowned out by a powerful blast. The entire mountain rumbled with a low, vibrating roar. The sound grew louder, echoing off the rocks, splitting their ears. The Lyrians looked around, disoriented. Few heard Gabor's warning.
Dinna just stand there! Get behind a rock! Quick! Hurry!
Meve followed the dwarf's gaze and cried out in terror. The snow stuck to the mountainside had started to slide down the slope, sending up mists of icy dust. Before she could react, the white torrent knocked her to her knees, crushing her and smothering her into the ground. All she felt after that was all-encompassing cold and fear. Meve survived. The dwarves who ran to the Lyrians' rescue dug her out of the snow in time. Some of her soldiers were not so lucky. The Queen looked at their bodies, blue, frozen. Next to them lay dead horses, demolished wagons. The losses were enormous. Meve wiped her cheek. Her tears burned her frozen skin. Gabor spoke a while with the leader of the Mahakam Guard Patrol that had come to their rescue. His face was dour.
What? What have you learned?
I'll tell you all in good time. First, you need a warm drink, good victuals.
No, Gabor. I need to find out what in blazes happened here.
Well, it was an avalanche.
Of course it was an avalanche. I'm no fool. But what caused it? What was that noise?
Signal horns. Ours.
So you brought this snow down on us? Dwarves!
Well, aye, but, unawares.
Explain, in brief.
See, we clean our mount regularly. The way menfolk shovel snow off their roofs. Otherwise, the whole shebang come tumbling down on our heads. When snow's gathered deep enough, we blast our horns to cause a controlled avalanche. Then we need to, sweep up a wee bit and the road's safe.
All well and good, but why did you decide to clean up right as I was passing through?
Wondering that myself. Schedule says next cleaning should have been a week from now, but someone asked the route to be cleared earlier.
Who?
Meve, I'll tell you. But first, promise you'll...
Who?
Hey. Owain ep Clenvog, the Nilfgaardian emissary. Must have found out you'd be going through.
The bastard. Reynard! Reynard!
Wait! Wait! I understand you're a wee bit upset, you've every right. But you'll never prove Owain meant you harm. The sly weasel will make sure he didn't dirty his own paws.
I've no such scruples. I'll find him and kill him.
And then? How'd you tell that tale to Bruva? Meve, you're justly taught, but for the love, just this once, let it go. Or you'll leave Mahakam with nae a scrap to show for it.
Moments later, scouts reported Owain was camped to the north of the accident site. Meve had to decide how much she was willing to risk to get her revenge on the Imperial emissary.